the amount of times I could have made more money. And now I started a company called Kid Fitness. It was an award-winning television show that got to the level where I was partners with Stan Lee, who created, what it was when I had my own kids, I saw them watching too much TV. I'm like, guys, let's get outside. Like, TV and me as a kid didn't match. My kids are watching TV, and I'm like, I can't. This just not sitting right. Childhood obesity is through the roof. So I created a show where animals mimicked exercise. A kangaroo would do squats. A butterfly did jumping jacks. The monkey did push-up. It was a show that the kids would mimic animals, thinking it was fun, but meanwhile they're exercising.
It's genius.
I thought so, but whatever. So we get into this, and now I did this show.
How the hell did you link up with Stan Lee?
Well, because I did it through Pro Image. I created a video, and then I created a television show. They loved it so much that the station WQED out of Pittsburgh that launched Mr. Rogers, the guy just happened to be at the studio. He's like, this is amazing. This what a great idea. Why don't you get some directors and this, that? They saw the video, and I'll put it on WQED. And I'm like, okay. And I looked at my partner. I had a partner who was really, really into it, and we spent a lot of money creating these episodes and doing screencasts and getting actors and learning the entertainment field. Wasn't my field, but now I'm learning the costumes and everything, how much went into animation.
What was it called?
Kid Fitness. If you Google Kid Fitness Stan Lee, it'll pop up. Kid Fitness Stan Lee. So what happened was I used animals. Long story short, season 2, we won a lot of awards. We did some cool shit. But
how was Stan Lee? How was he?
Well, I'll tell you something. Stan Lee, I got a call, from Stan Lee's agent, Gil Champion, reached out to us and he said, "Hey, I want to meet you guys out in Hollywood, Rodeo Drive in Santa Monica, the real deal."
Yeah.
But I'm not a comic guy. I didn't know who he was, to be honest with you. Sorry, Stan.
Stan was the comic book.
He created the Hulk, Spider-Man.
Yeah, legend. I mean,
legend.
Every one of
he's
those
Marvel
characters.
Comics. Marvel Comics is Stan Lee. Period.
Those are his visions.
He's the most talented. There he is. He's the most talented, creator probably in that there was
ever. Yeah.
Which is cool because I get my daughter's going into animation. I get to tell her how he thought about character development and subplots within the characters because that's what she does now in college. But anyhow, so
is he still alive?
No, he died. He died. So when he died, but before, so when I went out there, I remember we were sitting down in the office probably 2 years ago.
I was gonna say because he was in some of those movies.
Every one of them. We talked about doing a cameo. We're gonna make a Kid Fitness movie in Paul, and we're gonna do a cameo together. We had some cool talks.
Jesus Christ.
So anyhow, I go out there. It's like Paul, and I'm looking at this guy walking to his office. There's a big picture, life-size picture of the Hulk, and Spider-Man, him with presidents and all this. I'm like. I felt overwhelmed a little bit. I'm sitting in this office with, I'm like in California. Now it hit me like, what?
This guy's big deal.
What am I doing here? Like, so this guy calls me in. He's like, "Hey, boy, I like what you did. I really like it, but you missed just a little bit. You did a great concept with your exercise concept, but you missed what kids really identify to, and it's the weakness in the characters. They identify to that flaw that they can see themselves into, and he got it into a deep thing. And then he goes, I did something like this with Ike. And when I'm like, whoa, when you say Ike, do you mean President Eisenhower? He's like, yeah. I go, you see, that's the difference between me and you. I don't call Ike, the president, my buddies. What the fuck am I doing here? And he's just like, he started laughing. He goes, well, the reality is, Disney really bought me, and they own everything I do. And they all, I like this concept. I'd like to elaborate on this, but let's do it through a licensing arrangement where you have a licensing arrangement through Kid Fitness, 50-50 split. You'll have Disney take you out, buy you out, and this way I circumvent my contract basically through you. Done. And it was weird because if you Google this, Kid Fitness Stan Lee, he talks about all the characters. He developed this power girl Amy, this hot blonde that when she gets pissed off, she throws you through a fucking wall. Rollerball Raoul was a heavy Chinese guy that turned into a wrecking ball, but he was heavy. But if he lost too much weight, he lost his superpowers. Every single character had a subplot. And all these characters were superheroes that this is their kids. And Kid Fitness was the guy that trained the superheroes' kids. And all the villains that he arrested and put away were all trying to infiltrate it and get to. And I'm like, holy shit, like you just took my little animals and turned into this like mecca. I'm like, This is awesome. So he invited me out to his Lifetime Achievement Award. I sat with him and he talked about Kid Fitness at his Lifetime Achievement Award. Like my coolest concept. And he even talks about, is this Kid Fitness and what I'm going to be doing. And what happened was I had so many wheels in motion. It cost me millions to do this with my partners and everything. And we actually got a very large grant through the health department where I put these Kid Fitness Fun Fitness breaks, 8 minutes of activity to give the schools enough activity minutes to where they get the funding from the school because they were cutting back on gym classes. So I put them in, my Fun Fitness breaks were in every single classroom in Manhattan, Brooklyn, Bed-Stuy, Jamaica, everywhere, all the 5 boroughs.
We could use that right now. Can we do a reboot?
Yeah. Dude, if I show you that, you're gonna see how
Like, I
cool.
think
My
now-
daughter looked at it and she was like, "Dad, this is good stuff."
And in 2020, it's needed even more.
Even more.
Like, kids now are even more
Even more.
sedentary of a lifestyle with the video games and Instagram. Like, no one does shit.
You know what? And I'm going to tell you something everybody here can learn from, and I'll never forget it. So now we're in a meeting. Now we're pitching the concept to Disney. The
With
CEO
Stan
of
Lee.
Disney. With Stan Lee. One take stand. Right? So I come in there. I'm talking about I'm the world's best trainer. Fitness has been my life. I've been a bodybuilder, promoter, a gym owner. I taught people how to become trained. This is my life. This is what I do. And Stan, had his own version of it. So I got them all fired up and excited about what fitness, what it did to me, how it changed my life, and how I'm going to change the world of childhood abuse. Stan Lee takes over, and we're in, talking to this. It was a meeting room probably from here to Lindenhurst of a table with lawyers. And this one little Erkley guy said something that pissed Stan off. And I really can't remember what it was, but it wasn't a slap in the face, but it was condescending. I remember just getting a nudge under the table, And at this time, I didn't get that grant. The grant just came through, but I wasn't sure on how much for the health department that bailed me out of all the debt I had to make the company. So he's like, he hits me under the table, and he's just like, and I'm like, he stands up, "Gentlemen, would you excuse us?" He always quoted Shakespeare. Quoted a Shakespeare line that he'll be back in a minute, before Arnold, I'll be back. He said something much more like,
Poetic.
Yeah, poetic. We walk out, and I was about to say something in the elevator. He went like this, like these walls have ears. And I'm like, now I'm sweating. I'm like, I'm just watching my life go down the toilet. This meeting, we just pissed these guys off. The CEO did these. And I walk outside, and he's just, I'm looking at him. He puts his arm around. He's like, "Paul, you ever realize why you were born?" And I'm like, "Yeah, to be in that meeting we just walked out of." I'm like, "Stan, man, you're fucking killing me. You're killing me right now." Like, he's like, no. That's just it started going sideways with where he was going with that. And but you'll figure it out, Paul. And I had Jack Lane on my show too, kind of say the same thing, which is cool. But then we walked back into the meeting. The moral to this whole thing is, I'm scared shit. I thought all their briefcases would be packed. They'd be, they're walking out and just not even say goodbye to us for how insulting it was.
Because you
we
walked
just
out in the
waste
middle
their
of the
time.
meeting. Yeah.
Instead, Stanley had no sweat doing it. I come back and all of them stood up. They stood up. They put their tail. "Gentlemen, is everything okay?" "Sure, we're fine," as we were saying. And I was just like, holy shit. You can't play sports scared. You can't negotiate scared. I was scared shit. And this scan just made these guys melt like putty. It's the most powerful lesson I told to my son. Well, you can't do something scared. You have to know what you're worth. And if anyone ever tries to take it from you, man, you hold your ground.
You want to walk away.
You hold your ground to the point where you'll walk away and you'll quit before you let somebody tell you what you're worth or how it's going to go.
Fucking Stan Lee.
It's fucking amazing.
He took the whole room.
The whole fucking room. And the CEO came up there. She shook my hand. It was amazing. So how's this? So going from there, Stan was like, "I can't wait to work with you on this." We pretty much, the deal was they loved it. They did their due diligence as lawyers do. And they found out how many of my fun fitness breaks were in these classrooms and in some, tough areas. And Disney takes over, and the liability was so great. I remember, we were calling Powell Entertainment, Stan and Gil Chan. And it's like, I must have dialed your number 50 times. I never had the heart to press the last button. I'm like, "Oh, that don't sound good." And he's just like, the lawyers found, reason to cause, a lot of liability. And it just doesn't seem like.
Well, the kids got hurt.
Yeah, one of the kids, they sue us. They sue Disney. And I mean, I and that was the last straw. I went through a lot to get to that point. I went to the finish line so many times, and the checkered flag just disappeared. Every time I got to the finish line, something else caused the checkered flag to disappear. At this point, there's so many stories I could tell you about that. They're pretty wild. But I just had Stan Lee, the master of Marvel Comics. He's done it all. This guy couldn't do it. I got to walk away from this project. I just got basically all our money was kind of, some of it was settled out and some of it was, but if that, sometimes you just got to know when to walk away.
Yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow.
It was. And still, when I look at it, the kids loved it. That's the it. When the kids watched it, they loved it.
And it was more than a money-making thing. That's an
I was trying to
idea.
change the world, man. And I got to the point where, did I make the 100 million that I had and get on a show where I did, a little role in the movie, like with Stan Lee, which we were planning on doing? No, but in a weird way, I got to speak with Jack LaLanne, train with Jack LaLanne, the godfather of fitness, and have an amazing experience where he actually in front of live television said, "Paul, when I die, I'm passing the torch to you. I want you to continue to pass on the fitness world, what it means." That was powerful. I watched my parents cry with 90 years old and see this. Cool. to talk to my daughter, who's now an animator at School of Visual Arts as a freshman in college, who that's what
She's
does.
in college already?
Yeah, Leah's amazing. She's
Oh
John.
my
She's
God.
amazing.
I've
She's
seen
an
her work.
amazing
She's
artist.
unbelievably talented, but I can't believe she's that old already.
To talk to your daughter about Leah, you got to be able. You have to be able to unfold truly what you feel. Don't be afraid of being judged on Instagram, because Instagram is so important to the kids, and being judged and being how the kids feel and stuff. That Leah, if you ever want to be great, you got to be able to express yourself 100%. 100% express your deepest, darkest thoughts, because those are the things that are going to separate you from everybody else that just scratches the surface. That's because they're afraid of getting judged. They're afraid it won't be liked, because she's afraid of really saying how she feels. Because
She's a bit of an introvert.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
But she's a wonderful girl.
Wonderful girl, and extraordinarily talented and driven, like
Yeah,
I've
her
never
work's
seen.
insane.
She's more, yeah. So to be
her
able to
age,
talk
she's so
to you, to
advanced.
me, I never got that payout, but be able to talk to her, and the conversation went far past this, but it was pretty deep, to tell your kid that, listen, I was partners with the greatest mind the world's ever known in your world.
Yeah.
And this is his thoughts.
Quite
This
literally.
is what a subplot means. This is what character development means. And this, it changed our relationship.
And you're able to connect with her in a different way.
Oh man, I was just a dad that was great at fit. And I was being able. This is at the highest level. This is what her world is. So that was a wild. You didn't make any money off it, but what's rich, man? The best feeling in the world, or the most money. I'll take that feeling I had with my daughter over.
Yeah, pass that knowledge to your daughter.
Yeah, man.
That's amazing.
Isn't it cool?
That is an amazing story.